As developers, we often live at the top of the stack. We fetch data, hit endpoints, and push to production. But under the hood, a complex handoff is happening. To debug a 504 gateway timeout or understand latency, you have to understand the OSI and TCP/IP models. In this video, we are going to trace an HTTPS GET request from a client to a server using the 7-layer OSI model for the theory purpose and the 4-layer TCP/IP model for the implementation. So let's start with the OSI model. OSI model is a diagnostic framework. It defines the encapsulation process, where each layer adds its own header to the data. Our journey starts with an HTTPS GET request at the application layer. This layer is responsible for identifying communication partners and quality of service. For a developer, this is where REST, GraphQL, and DNS live. At this layer, we are dealing with the data as the unit. Now, in order to transfer the data, it needs to be serialized. Presentation layer handles JSON or XML formatting and most importantly, TLS and SSL encryption. It ensures that the application layer receives the data in a syntax it can parse. Thus, it is also called as translation layer. The main task of this layer are to translate the request in understandable format, encrypt or decrypt the data, and compress the data. Once we have the protocol and syntax in place, we need to initiate a space for dialogue. The session layer manages the dialogue control. It is responsible for creating, managing, and terminating the connections between devices. It allows processes to add checkpoints that help in synchronizing the data packets to avoid data loss. Think of it as the layer that manages multiple streams of data within a single connection. Next one is the most important layer where lots of processes are happening. In this layer, the data is broken into segments and a header is added containing source and destination ports, like port number 443 for HTTPS. It manages flow control and the three-way handshake between the source and destination. This layer is called transport layer and has two modes, TCP and UDP. For our GET request, we can use TCP. While the layers below it, which is the network layer or the internet layer, is just responsible for moving the packets from point A to point B, the transport layer is responsible for how the data is delivered. Is it complete? Is it in the right order? Is it too fast for the receiver to handle? All these things. Let's take an example to understand more. Imagine you ordered a massive bookshelf from Ikea. It's too big to fit in a box. So they break it down into 10 separate boxes. Here, Ikea breaks the bookshelf into 10 pieces and numbers them 1 to 10. In networking, this is breaking large file into segments. And this is called segmentation, while each part is called a segment. Now, if box number 4 falls off the truck, you call Ikea and say that I'm missing box 4 and they resend it. You don't start building until you have all the 10 boxes or segments. This ensures reliability part of the TCP. Now, if your apartment is tiny and you can only process 2 boxes at a time, you need to tell the delivery driver to slow down to control the flow of data segments. Next, when the boxes arrive at your apartment building, the driver looks at the apartment number, practically the port, to know if the boxes go to you, that is the web browser, or your neighbor, which may be a Spotify app. So this process is called multiplexing. The transport layer primarily uses 2 different modes of transport depending on what you need, TCP or UDP. Here's the comparison for both of them. TCP is reliable, but UDP is fast. TCP follows a 3-way handshake, but the UDP doesn't. TCP performs error checking and resends the lost packets to ensure reliability. However, UDP does not send the lost package, maintaining a faster communication. TCP guarantees the in-order delivery of data, while in UDP the data may become out of order. TCP is best used when you cannot afford data loss, and can have some delay, like in web browsing, sending emails, or file transfers. However, UDP is mainly used when you need speed over data reliability, like in live streaming, or gaming, or video calls, or VoIP. Moving on. The segment from the transport layer is wrapped into an IP header, creating a packet. Network layer is responsible for routing these packets from source to destination. Network layer decides which route is the best and routes the package through that route. In order to do so, it also adds the logical addresses or the IP addresses in the header, the source and the destination IP addresses. It is implemented by networking devices like routers and switches in practice. With data link layer, we enter the local network where the node-to-node delivery happens. The packet is placed in a frame. This adds the MAC address of the next physical hop, like your router's gateway. It also adds a frame check sequence to detect bit level error. Finally, the frame is converted into bits and sent over the medium, and this is the physical layer. Common devices of physical layer are repeaters, hubs, cables. That's all about the OSI 7 layer model. Now let's move on to the next part of the video. In real world, the TCP/IP model or the Internet Protocol suite is what we actually implement in code and kernels. It collapses the OSI 7 layers into 4 functional blocks. The top 3 layers from OSI collapse to form a single layer in TCP/IP model. For a software engineer, this is the entire user space. Everything from HTTP header to JSON payload and the TLS handshake happens here. When you write any Node.js or Go service, you are primarily interacting with this layer. The 4th layer, the transport layer, remains same in both. This is managed by the operating system's network stack. This is where your TCP sockets live. It handles retransmission of dropped segments and congestion control. The network layer from the OSI model translates to the internet layer in TCP/IP model. This layer's sole job is to get the packets to their destination using IP addressing, the IPv4 and the IPv6 addresses. It doesn't care about what's in the packet. It only cares about the best path to the BGP mesh, where BGP stands for the Border Gateway Protocol. Lastly, the layer 1 and 2 from OSI model combined act as the network access layer of TCP/IP model. This is the hardware layer that has network interface cards, that is NIC, and the drivers. It handles the framing for Ethernet or Wi-Fi and the physical signaling. That's all about the 4-layer model. Now you might wonder, why should a developer care about learning these models? That's because leaky abstractions happen in these layers. Also, whenever an interviewer asks a debugging question like, I am seeing a delay in an application response, what do I need to debug? In such cases, you need to know the layers at which the delay might appear and answer accordingly. Suppose you are seeing a high latency. Ask if it is a layer 3, that is routing issue, or a layer 4, TCP congestion issue. While looking at the security aspects, ask what layer should you install firewalls into. A layer 7 firewall will inspect the actual SQL and HTML content, while a layer 3 and a 4 firewall only looks at the IP and the ports. Understand that when you are using a service mesh like Istio or Linkerd in your application, you are essentially offloading layer 5 and 6 responsibilities like the session persistence and mutual TLS to a sidecar proxy. This kind of things help you understand the networking concept of application that you are developing. Let's recap what we have studied till now. The OSI model is the mental map for debugging where the failure is occurring. The TCP/IP model is the functional architecture of the software that you are building. If you understand both, you will stop seeing the network as a black box and start seeing it as a programmable stack. To wrap up, it's important to remember that while the transport layer ensures your data arrives intact, it wouldn't know where to go without the layers beneath it. We also saw when to use the TCP versus the UDP model. Now that we have mastered how the data is packed, let's look at how it is addressed. In the next video, we'll see the network layer and the global phone book of the internet. We'll understand how IPv4 and IPv6 keep billions of devices reachable, how google.com find its way to exact server for the data. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching this video till the end, and I'll see you in the next one.